my assessment of the progress of the workshop is that so far so good. Based on my observation, I see that the stakeholders or the participants from other ministries, departments and agencies have welcomed the objectives of the workshop. They are committed and dedicated to really supporting achievement of the objectives. Specifically, if you look at the one that requires them to review the existing data as well as update for the gaps, because that is very important when we talk about one of the expected outputs or deliverables for this project, which has to be a country SDG dashboard. So at the front, which is the Open SDG dissemination platform, it is important that the back end is actually fed with data, and that is when you can now say that your dashboard will be useful for the users, because they are the focus at the end of the day. People that are going to use this data to actually inform their decisions, especially policymakers, which is very critical for that project. So as part of the key outcomes for this project, I must mention, because this is a project that is fully funded by the European Union, and ECA, the African Center of Statistics, ECA is actually the implementing entity. Now, it does have 3 work packages, but specifically this work package 2 that focuses on SDG dashboards. We have a key objective of ensuring that data is centralized for better exchange through these open standards and technologies like the standard data and metadata exchange, commonly known as SDG. And we have also had initiatives with other entities, including the African Development Bank, that does similar work, and we are integrating with them to ensure that there isn't duplication of efforts in this regard, but we ensure that even with the different tools, we are able not to burden the data producers. However, have the people that produce the data do this in an efficient way. So you have the standardization of your data, which should support or make data management and exchange, especially within the national statistical system, easy. Yeah, so you do certain aspects which are foundational once, and you don't have to repeat them, and what is required of you is more or less just updating the data as and when it's made available. I would just like to add that, we have trained the Cameroon's National Institute of Statistics in these skills over the life of this project, and we are confident that with the skills that we have shared with them, they can actually transfer this knowledge and skills, as has been evident during this workshop, to the other stakeholders in the national statistical system, since they are also holders of data and they produce official statistics. So we know that the SDGs cannot only be fully responded to by only the National Statistical Office or the National Statistical Institute. Some gaps have to be filled by the data from the sectors, and it is important for us to really coordinate with them and ensure that at the end of the day, we are speaking towards, filling gaps that will guide on monitoring of Cameroon's national strategy for development, as well as these other frameworks like the global SDGs and also the Agenda 2063 of Africa, which most of the time people forget. Speaking of the current times, I can say probably the biggest challenge that stands in the way is that of funding, given the liquidity crisis. But we're also confident and relying on the countries, especially the pilot countries in this project. Specifically for this work stream, the pilot countries, we have Cameroon, Kenya, Senegal, Uganda and Zimbabwe. So we are confident and relying on them to ensure that it doesn't die out after the life of the project. The encouragement is for them to use whichever other opportunities avail themselves when they are coordinating with the other players of the national statistical system to really talk about this standardization, which is very critical for easily managing their data, but also exchanging their data, because we know here in Cameroon, the National Statistical Institute is responsible for ensuring that they put together this data for monitoring SDGs. So the other players, if the other players can send through this data in a format that is easier for them to, have for exchange, then we believe if that happens throughout Cameroon, we will have achieved the goal of the project, and we will know that there has been impact in these pilot countries. Until now, what will be left is to really roll it out for other countries that have not yet embraced the use of these open standards and technologies to really standardize their data and make it easier for them to exchange and disseminate to the users.